What if the President of the United States does have dementia? What would that mean for America? And I got to start off by showing you the post that Trump made on Easter Sunday, right? One of the top religious holidays during the year. And what does he say? Tuesday will be Power Plant Day, Bridge Day, all wrapped up. There'll be nothing like it. Open the effing straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah, President Donald J. Trump. And this was on his social media, okay, folks? This is not anything I just made up. I lived with a partner who got frontal temporal dementia, which is different than Alzheimer's. I know everybody tends to think they're all the same. Alzheimer's is a loss of memory, like who are you and who is everybody else. Frontal temporal is different in that it affects the behavior. It can cause disinhibition, impulsive remarks, loss of empathy, and very poor judgment in everyday situations. Now, I lived with this lady for over a decade, and so the first hint, well, there's few hints, like following her GPS into a plowed field, not realizing that's a plowed field. Don't go there. And had never that she was a talented biology teacher, full of intelligence, and that was one of the signs. And then we go to Thanksgiving dinner at her daughter's, drove for a few hours, got up there, sitting around, uh, her daughter, the husband, a couple of kids sitting there. We're all just kind of sitting there for dinner. And out of the blue, my partner said, well, I don't care if Michael sleeps with the name of her daughter. And I'm like, we just nobody really said anything, but we were all just stunned. Like this came way out of the blue, very unusual. That's when we made the appointment with the doctor, and he came in. And here's a picture of what dementia looks like. It's the white part in the brain. That's dementia. And one of the things you learn is that, yeah, they can give them meds to slow down the decline, but it still declines. It never levels off. So that today will be the best day that that person ever has, because tomorrow they will decline some more. And this is what I think we are seeing with Donald J. Trump, that his behavior, I mean, it's never been kind of normal, okay? Just give that. So it does make it more challenging to say, whoa, this is way out there. So going through the list here, disinhibition, if I pronounce that right. And listen, I ran all the research, and this is what it says. Saying inappropriate or offensive things. Like what? Quiet piggy to women reporters, ugly inside and out. You're a terrible person, terrible reporter. Do do do. Uh, all kinds of insults, calling people horseface, fat pig. Judging women by their appearance. I mean, that's not dementia necessarily, but it becomes a lot more pronounced when they have dementia. Say, like, okay, it has a reduced filter in public speech. How about the social media post? Open fucking straight, you crazy bastards, from a president? Now, I've asked AI, kind of give me a clue if this is like within the realm of all prior presidents, and it shocked AI. It said, "No, man, this is just whack. If this is true, this is way outside of what." the traditional presidential tone is, which is more formal, diplomatic. They don't use profanity in public. In private, yeah, but not in public. And a respectful tone towards other nations. That's what you do. George Bush went out on the rim, axis of evil, strong, but it was formal. Barack Obama was kind of a measured, legalistic language. Biden could say, some blunt stuff, but he never did it in a negative, nasty way. He just, hey, you're full of malarkey. Nixon, he was very profane in private, but not publicly. So this is just way out of wackadoodle when you start using the F word, crazy bastards. Now, get this. We got into this after the initial Iranian delegation met our delegation that wanted them to stop enriching and all that stuff. And they said, oh, okay, what? And so there was going to be a deal. But then Netanyahu, oh my God, we can't have a deal. We're going to go ahead and attack him anyway. Talk Trump into going ahead and literally assassinating the guy that just agreed with us to have a deal, including the Ayatollah that was against having a nuke. Now, tell me that's sane to have a deal, kind of like, Obama made a deal, they stopped enriching. Trump came in the office, did away with the deal, they started enriching, but then we bombed the nuclear stuff last June, and now they, had met and they actually said, okay, we'll just stop the enriching, da da da. And and suddenly we assassinate the guy who was against having a nuke. Where is that saying? Where is this, a sensible, any kind of person a random person off the street would have more sense than to do that, right? Because now, uh, all the destruction, the oil infrastructure, buildings, we lost 6 aircraft trying to rescue. Think we did rescue our 2 pilots that were shot down at a cost of billions of dollars, both in our weapons being fired, the refineries being hit in return, all the retaliation back and forth, back and forth. I mean, this is just crazy town, people. It didn't need to happen. Trump should have just said, if he'd been in his right mind, baby, no, go sit down. We don't need another war that I promised I wouldn't do, but now we're doing, right? And the Strait of Hormuz, which was open until all this crazy stuff happened, suddenly now it's closed. So it's part of dementia, personality changes, increased irritability, staying 2 o'clock, crazy social media posts, repetitive and compulsive behavior, repeating phrases, themes, and actions, fixation on certain ideas like what, invading Greenland again, coming up again, and then, oh, we're going to do Cuba next. That doesn't sound normal or sane to me, folks. If you do, man, we're in a different timeline here. Repeating phrases, themes, actions, word finding difficulty, like he can't sometimes say the word, so he just kind of makes up a non-word, substituting an incorrect word. That and a reduced vocabulary, simplified speech. We're down to about the third level here, third grade level. Lack of insight, not recognizing their own behavioral changes. Taco, remember Trump always chickens out when he tries something that doesn't work. Oh my God, he backs up and then tariff on, off, on, off, on, off. Where is that normal? Either you shouldn't have done it anyway. It just raises prices on everything in the entire supply chain was kind of crazy. And then, then instead of getting rid of it so that all that cost is not pushed down on us, no, he's got to take it to the Supreme Court to try to, hammer while he's giving trillions to the rich. 3 trillion this time, 2 trillion last time. And the biggest deficit debt we've had in our 250-year history, 25% of that was one guy and 4 years in his first term and 1 year in second term. Quarter of our total $39 trillion debt is from Mr. Trump. So, listen, do you want to be on the ship with a captain that's got dementia and can't remember where the heck? Full speed ahead during the icebergs because, hey, that's what I do. Or do you pick someone else to take over, which would be what the sensible thing? And that's where we are, folks. Um, this is dangerous. This is beyond politics. I mean, any president that doesn't have doing irrational actions that's costing billions. It's 13 lives of our troops so far, over 300 injured, and a war that never needed to happen. NATO is a defense thing. They're not out there to rush in and attack somebody that Trump did on his own without asking anybody. Why, if you're dumb enough to go jump in a quicksand, is everybody supposed to come in and jump in with you? No, not if they got any sense. If they stray, you notice they haven't put any naval ships through that Strait of Hormuz. They're all way down in the Gulf of Oman. Why? Because they would be sunk to the bottom of the Persian Gulf because it's within artillery range, drone range, uh, small missiles, you name it. Um, that is crazy. The problem is, in a normal situation, a president has professional advisors that say, "No, Mr. President, you don't want to nuke a hurricane," like he suggested in his first term. I mean, like radiation would be spread for thousands of miles, dude. But now he's got all these yes people that are unqualified idiots. The Higgs was former Fox guy, didn't know anything about the Pentagon, and known drunk. He's not going to run in and say, "Hey, don't do something, war crimes like, bombing their civilian infrastructure, the girls' school, and all that kind of thing." No, they kind of encourage it, which is holy crap, dangerous. Not only is the captain out of his tree, but all the crew are just, hey, let's have an apocalypse because, we got some crazy religious idea instead of, sanity because we picked all crazy religious unqualified weirdos that don't belong in the White House when they were busy firing all the experts. Now they're firing the generals that say, no, don't do a ground thing. And no, you can't do civilian structures. You cannot commit war crimes, Mr. President, which is what he's now publicly promoting. Holy crap, crap, crap. So there we are, Michael Fetland, and, hey, give us a like or subscribe, pass it around because I don't think we're near the end until, if Republicans in Congress don't have the guts to impeach him because they get death threats from the crazy fringe, brown shirts on the edge of the Trump thing. It's like having a mafia boss, and his enforcers come in and say, "Oh, it'd be a shame if something happened to that nice daughter and wife of yours." So they're being fired to get some yes general to throw us into God knows what in Iran because he doesn't know how to get out. And he shouldn't have gotten us in anyway. He promised not to, right? Just did the opposite. Same with raising prices instead of dropping them. And so, hey, we're in this thing until November unless you change the Congress to people with guts to say no to this guy. We're like the Titanic, heading full speed ahead at the icebergs that we're already scraping. We just got lucky that the two pilots were recovered. The rest of them may not be so lucky. This is dangerous. Vietnam, we thought we'd bomb our way to success, never happened. Iraq, we thought we'd bomb our way to success, never happened. Same in Afghanistan. Not in the history has bombing and all the firepower. Say, look at Ukraine fighting back from Russia. Did they fall apart because they get missiles coming every day, every day? And by the way, Putin giving Iran information on where our aircraft are so they can blow them up. And Trump doesn't have a problem with that. He releases the sanctions on the Russian oil and Iran oil. Oh my God. He's making them extra billions. This is insane. Even MAGA ought to be able to figure this out that this is not in our best interest, their best interest. You got a kid that wants to go die on the, battlefield for another stupid war? I don't think so. Michael Fetland, till next time. And hey, send some comments. I'll try to get to them. It's, kind of busy running around trying to keep the world from falling apart, my own world, since business has really cratered since he took over. But this is public. I've been the terrorism analyst, been the international legal negotiator in 50 countries, was in the Middle East, was actually supposed to be based in Iran right before the Shah fell and the revolutionaries took over, and I could have been a hostage. And so I've been following this for, since the 70s, and we're in serious trouble. We've never had a president. I was never a fan of Bush, but he never did. I mean, yeah, Iraq was a wrong thing to do, but compared to Trump now, ugh, Bush looks like he's a pretty cautious guy compared to this reckless stuff going on, and nobody else has been crazy enough to do this. So hang on your hats, buckle up, folks. America, we're in deep doo-doo. Michael Fetland, until next time.